I recently spent 2 days in Nuevo, California at Sylvesters Customs classic car restoration workshop. I didn't go there because I didn't know how to build hot rods. I went there to see how a high quality shop builds theirs. In this video, I'm going to walk you through exactly what we covered, from the bare metal all the way to the clear coat, the welding, the hammer and dolly work, the hands-on body work, and the one-on-one critiquing that was done during the class, and what it has done for me as a professional builder. So those of you that are new here, my name is Elliot Slack. I own I.B.F.HotRods in Huntington, Indiana. And in this video, I took notes on this one because I didn't want to miss anything. This is going to be my honest opinion on the 2-day class at Sylvesters Customs. And this is not a plug for him or for me. This is an honest review of what it was. To start things off, this is not a sponsored video. Travis and Mike don't even know that I'm doing it, so this is going to be a surprise to them. But I felt that I wanted to share this with you guys and anybody curious about taking the 2-day class with Sylvesters Customs. So this is the breakdown on what we went through. The reason I ended up going to the class was because I wanted to compare what I was doing as a professional builder to a high quality builder and custom shop like Sylvesters Customs. I wanted to see the why behind everything. I found Sylvesters Customs through YouTube. I was fortunate enough to do an interview with them on my podcast. That's where I really got to dive deep into their thought process and everything. A little bit of backstory on the podcast is I interview people all over the country, and they really stood out to me. So that's why I came here. And I decided that that's what I needed to do. That was what was best for me at the time, and what I was feeling as an owner, as a builder, as the whole 9 yards. And also, as far as mentality goes, I needed a recharge in my own brain, and I got all of that in a bag of chips. My focus area was for proper structure behind my methods. As an owner and operator, I need to be able to explain why I'm doing the things I'm doing. That was my big thing. I wanted to tighten my discipline, basically. I was looking at other classes all over the country, but none of them seemed to have the structure that Sylvesters Customs was having. So that's why I went. So on the first day, when I walked into the class, you know, I had to leave my ego at the door. If I wouldn't have left my ego at the door and I would have came in there like I know what I'm doing, it wouldn't have worked out for me. If you don't like being critiqued, this ain't the class for you either. When I walked into the class the first day, you know, I had class with 8 other people, and it was everybody from people that were restoring their first vehicle and they were retired, all the way up to people working in professional shops as painters and body men. And also, we had 3 other guys that were all from the same shop. One was the owner, one was the fabricator who did nothing but metal work, so he was not familiar with body side of things, and then a guy who was pretty much green. He's never even really welded before. So there was complete different sides of the spectrum there, which actually became a solid benefit, in my opinion, to the class. And it became really beneficial in the Q&A and everything that I'm gonna get into and discuss here. But the first things first, everybody introduce themselves, tell your story about yourself, why you're there. And Travis and Mike actually really took that into consideration. So on the whiteboard, they wrote down your name, and then they wrote down exactly what you were shooting for. It wasn't a class that, like, you walk in and it's like, here you go, this is what we're gonna go over, and this is what we're gonna go over. This was totally 100% catered to what was happening in real time in the class from who was in there. So that was huge kudos to that. You know, you don't have classes like that. So after we introduced ourselves and everything like that, we ended up, we went straight into lecture, and we went from all the way from the bare metal all the way up to bodywork and paint and finish and high build primers and blah, 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 blah. All that stuff, they really honed in on the reasoning as to why. And not only that, they brought what they actually use out so that you could take pictures of it, write it down, look it over, you could read it, whatever you wanted to do with it, you could see exactly what they're using, why they're using it. Me as a builder and as a business owner myself, I was able to look and I could see the chemical compound of what they were doing, like what they were using, as opposed to some of the stuff that I'm using, especially when it comes to metal treatment, metal conditioning, rust reform, rust killer shit, all that stuff. But the beauty of it was throughout this whole lecture side of things, they just went into all the why, and that's what I was there for. So I really appreciated that side of the class. And I know for the new guys and the guys that were there that never had seen this shit before, for them it was overwhelming with the lecture part. But once we started getting into like actually welding and watching the hammer and dolly work and the shrinking and getting into the body work and everything, which I'll get into in just a little bit as far as day 2 goes. But they were able to actually like take what they just learned, and now we're applying it and reasonings behind it. And as an owner and somebody who is already familiar with welding and everything like that, I actually am certified in welding. So, I have a different technique than what they showed me when it came to MIG welding. But I was able to critique and be like, am I doing my stuff right? Do I feel more comfortable about it? And they actually allowed me to have an open conversation with them in front of everybody to kind of compare my technique with their techniques and stuff like that. And that was the same way across the board with everything. If anybody had a technique, they were always able to reference whoever it was and really hone in on the communication and really go back to that initial, this guy needs more knowledge on this, and this guy needs more knowledge on this, and this, So it was really fascinating to see that they did it that way. And it was just beneficial for everybody, in my opinion. So by the end of the first day, everybody was welding. Even the guys who never welded before, like I said, they were able to take what we just were taught and apply it in real time. And these guys who never welded before were pumped. And for their ability to do it here and then to take it home, they all said they had welders and shit, but they just sit there and they haven't welded. So that in and of itself was totally worth the money just to go learn how to weld just like that, And then the TIG welding side of things, we were able to sit there and see proper setup, proper control, proper blah, 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 proper everything. It really reinforced the heat control and everything like that with my TIG welding. And you were really able to see in real time the difference between MIG welding and TIG welding and being able to hammer and dolly everything. And also they introduced me to a new shrinking disc that I was unaware of, which I actually have in my cart that I'm going to be purchasing, and it was just a really good first day. Everybody ended the first day on a high note, in my opinion, especially the ones that never welded before. And me personally, I went back to my Airbnb. I was excited about the day, and I was excited about what the next day was going to be. The second day, we all came in, we got our donuts, and we got our coffee, and we were all ready to go. And Travis and Mike encouraged everybody to go home and really think about go back to their hotels and Airbnbs and everything and really think about what they just learned during the day and really sink in. And they challenged us to come in with questions in the morning. So we had another little Q&A in the morning whenever we did that. And after we honed in on the Q&A and any questions they had from the first day, we went into bodywork next because that's what's next. So everything they taught us in the lecture on the first day, we started applying that right away. We got paired up into groups of 2. We had our own hood. My partner had his side, I had my side, and we ended up sanding everything down and prepping it for filler. And everybody went over there to the scale. We all weighed it out to the appropriate grams and everything like that. And we started applying. And that's where on the fly critiquing started. I didn't have proper technique, and Travis let me know about it. I know now to spread with my legs, keep them bent the whole 9 yards, how to do it smoother, you know? The critiquing was there, not just for me, but for everybody else. And the benefit of that day I found was the fact that, you know, while people were kind of waiting for everything to kick off, we were able to have some conversations with each other. And I was able to really focus on what I could see in the shop. And in my own mind, I could compare what I'm doing here to what I'm seeing in real time at their shop. You know, the shop's open to everybody, so you can go wherever you want, look at whatever you want. So that's what I did. I was able to look at their welds. I was able to look at how far they're going with their metal work. I was looking at their gaps. It was just so much that I had as far as an advantage to being in that shop and being able to see how it's done at that level. They showed us how to pick the right blocks, use the right technique, where to put your hands on the blocks. You know, there was just so much knowledge base there. It was ridiculous. They have a certain technique that they do body work on, and a lot of videos that they have online is really hones in on that. And the fact I was able to come in, you know, their pencil technique that they have and everything, being able to see that firsthand. You know, I have my own techniques of doing it. I've seen a lot of other people do it, but that was just like when I was starting to see things visually in my own right in front of me. Whew, it changed. It's changed the game. I can't wait to do body work, which is crazy because I despise it. The second day ended up finishing with them showing even further techniques beyond the coats that we were doing, showing their really how they really start honing in on their system. It was worth every penny for me to go out there. It was worth the hassle. It was worth the flight, you know, the whole 9 yards. You know, Travis encourages, after you go to this class, he encourages, if you have questions or concerns, to reach out to him. I text him off and on quite frequently about some questions since I've left the class, and he's been more than helpful. I even talked to him a couple of times on the phone about it and everything. And I feel like my relationship with him and Mike has become stronger just from going out there, not because I gave them money to take their class, but because they're genuinely concerned with you know, people doing it right. And that's what had turned me on about them to begin with, was they just want people to learn the proper techniques and the proper process. I think this class can fit pretty much anybody who builds hot rods, restores cars, or wants to build and restore. As far as from a beginner standpoint, I think it could be a little overwhelming as far as the lecture side goes. I don't think the class can be separate. You need the lecture for the rest of the class. I'm not saying the lecture is fucking hours and hours and hours and long. I'm just saying that lecture part needs to be there so you can have the aha moments. So as far as people like the owners go, if you're a shop owner, you've been out of the game for a while and you've been having other people do it for a long time, you have people working for you doing it for a long time. I mean, what better way to get into the now? And if you hired somebody because they said they know how to do it and you're just like, yeah, okay, and you let that guy wing it and he's just doing what he's doing and you don't have a full grasp of everything, I mean, this class will put it into perspective of what's going on in your own shop. And for people that want to continue their education, like the guy who this is his second class, I mean, I understand why he's going a second time. I mean, me personally, I would love to go back out there and do it again next year or whatever, just because I feel like I would benefit from it. they say you only retain 10% of what you read and things of that nature. So every time I read the same book, I get something new out of it, even though I've read it once before. So same thing is applied to this class. If I was to go take it again, I guarantee I will get something out of it because it's ever evolving. And if I know Travis and Mike, more than likely their class is going to ever evolve as well. The only thing I could really complain about was a picture book, a reference book. That would be what I would really, really want to see. Would be I show up for class and I have notes. You know what I mean? They did give us a printout and everything like that. Should I expect to go there and it to be like my college classes? No. They get it on that level. This will set this class 110% apart. And everything that I learned from them, more than likely, the class that I took, the next class is going to be even better, and it's just going to keep evolving. That's my take on the class. I hope you guys learned something from it. If you feel like you've learned something or you have any questions, put them in the comments. Also, if you've taken a class, I'd love to hear from you, and I'd love to talk to you about it. And let us know what you guys think about the class and what you guys think about Travis and Mike and the whole 9 yards. Hopefully this justified the money that it costs to go there. Hopefully this justified why you should go there. And hopefully this justified any reasoning why you're doubting to go. If you don't remember from the beginning, my name's Elliot Slack. I'm with I.B.F.HotRods. And as always, it's for the money, for the glory, and for the fun, baby. And as always, Pinky's out.
You want to boogie through this, and this is why you need to master those fundamentals, because if you don't, you're on a ticking time clock. We specifically teach with 100 grams because I want you guys to have a mental note of how much surface area do you get to cover with 100 grams. Phone out, they filming at the light, first gear, second gear, give them a show. Talk trim, talk stands, no slack. And look at all that filler that you would have put on the floor. These are more because I need to have somewhere that I just chill. So my concern is I know this blocked out, I know this blocked out. I'm connecting these two, so that's my concern. I'm not coming all the way out here. And you're coming back across and moving your knee to angle you back and going all the way off. And you want to do that repeatedly every single time.